Hello all, welcome to the channel. I am Dr. Shiba, Assistant Professor from Department of BCom CA, Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science. Let's see about keys in relational database. Keys form a very important role in a relational database system. A key refers to an attribute or a set of attributes that helps us to identify a row, or also called as tuple, uniquely in a table, or also called as relation. A key is also used when we want to establish relationship between the different columns and tables of a relational database. The individual values present in a key are commonly referred to as key values, and each set of keys form a unique place in relational database system. There are 7 broad types of keys in database management system, mainly in relational database. They are candidate key, primary key, foreign key, super key, alternate key, composite key, and artificial key. Now let's see each keys in detail. Now let's see what is a primary key. As the name suggests, it is one of the most important key in a relational database setup. The primary key refers to a column or a set of columns of a table that helps us identify all the records uniquely present in that table. A table can consist of just one primary key, and also the primary key cannot consist of the same values reappearing or repeating for any of its row. So it is one of the most unique key in the relational database system. All the values of a primary key have to be different and there should be no repetitions. This is an example for a primary key. Under the employee database, the employee ID, employee name, employee address, passport number, license number, and SSN are given as columns where we have identified the employee ID as the primary key. In the employee table, ID can be the primary key since it is unique for each employee. In the employee table, we can even select license number and passport number as the primary keys since they are also unique and non-repetitive. Now, let's see about the next key called super key. A super key refers to all set of those keys that helps us uniquely identify all the rows present in a table. It means that all of these columns present in a table that can identify the columns of the table uniquely as the super key. A super key is a candidate key's superset. A candidate key has been explained in the next slide. We need to pick the primary key of any table from the super key set so as to make it as the table's identity attribute. And if you see the tables in the same table, employee ID, employee name, passport number, and SSN are given, and we can see that employee ID and employee name has been taken as super key. In the above employee table, the name of two employees can be the same, but their employee ID can't be the same. Hence, this combination can also be a key. So, you can see that two combinations of two keys can become a super key. Now let's see about the next key called candidate key. The candidate keys refers to those attributes that identify rows uniquely in a table. In a table, we select the primary key from a candidate key. Thus, a candidate key has similar properties as that of the primary keys. In a table, there can be multiple candidate keys. We can see the example below. In the employee table, ID is the best suited for the primary key, while the rest of the attributes, they are also unique. You can see passport number, license number, and SSN can also be used as the candidate keys. Now let's see about alternate key. As we have stated above, any table can consist of multiple choices for the primary key, but it can only choose one. Thus, all those keys that did not become a primary key are known as alternative key. If you see the below example from the same table, in the employee relation database, it has two attributes. They are employee ID and PAN number that acts as candidate key, and in this relation, employee ID, since it is already chosen as primary key, the other candidate key PAN number acts as an alternate key. Next, let's discuss about foreign key. We use a foreign key to establish relationship between two available tables. The foreign key would require every value present in a column or a set of columns to match the referential table's primary key. A foreign key helps us to maintain data as well as referential integrity. If you see, the foreign key is mainly used to connect two tables, and one table is usually called as a parent table is used to connect with the child table with the use of one key called foreign key. If you see the example below, we add that the primary key of the department table, a department ID, as a new attribute in the employee table. And if you see the employee table, department ID is the foreign key and the both tables are related, and thus one table can reference to other table with the help of a foreign key. Next, let's see about a composite key. The composite key refers to a set of multiple attributes that helps us uniquely identify every tuple present in a table. The attributes present in a set may not be unique whenever we consider them separately. Thus, when we take them all together, it will ensure total uniqueness. So it means that each key has its own uniqueness, and when we combine it, it will give a byproduct of new uniqueness. If you see the example below, in employee relations, we assume that an employee may be assigned multiple roles and an employee may work on multiple projects simultaneously. So the primary key will be composed of all these attributes, right? Employee ID, employee role, and project ID in the combination. So these attributes acts as a composite key since the primary key comprises more than one attribute. And you can identify an employee with all the three combinations called the composite keys. The last key we are going to discuss about is artificial key. The key created using arbitrarily assigned data are known as artificial keys. These keys are created when a primary key is large and complex and has no relationship with many other relations. The data values of the artificial keys are usually numbered in a serial order. Now let's see the example below. The primary key, which is composed of employee ID, employee role, and project ID, is large in the employee relational database system. So it would be better to add a new virtual attribute to identify each tuple in the relation uniquely. So the combination of all these three keys can be used using a new artificial key called row ID, so it can be identified easily. That's all. These are all about the keys in relational database system. Thank you for listening.